So from time to time on Random Review, there are some requests that I will have to honor, and this is going to be the first of those. This is a request that came in from Jojira, and I thank him very much. I also thank him because he gave me a very unusual request, not just a single toy. He let me pick from a whole range, including from any toy of this character or any toy from this series. And one of them that he suggested was Beast Wars, and it made me realize, outside of Plastic Addict, I've never reviewed a Beast Wars toy. The closest I ever came was Generations Rhinox, which really doesn't represent the series very well, because it's such better engineering. But that did make me think about what I wanted to review from the original Beast Wars line. And then it occurred to me, I wanted to review something from Beast Wars Telemocha, which was the 10th anniversary line in Japan. Telemocha is a combination of the word television and omocha, the Japanese word for toy. So, TV toy. Basically, just like the 10th anniversary series we had, they repainted a bunch of Beast Wars toys to make them more show accurate. Over here, we got Tarantulas. Over there, they got BlackArachnia. So, we're going to review BlackArachnia. And as you can see, not much of a Black Widow spider, to be honest. The rear end is not nearly as round as the real thing. Of course, the real thing does not have gold on it or brown legs. And, even, of course, this is Tarantulas' mold, but even for a tarantula, this was never terribly accurate. But we're not comparing it to that. We're making sure it is accurate to the cartoon depiction of BlackArachnia. And in that sense, they did pretty good. The legs are the right color, and to give it a little bit of a CG look, there is a bit of metallic reflection in the plastic. They made sure to put that everywhere, even in the black comprising most of her body. There's a little bit of glitter to it, and a lot of subtle airbrushing, so it doesn't just look like flat black. There's a lot of, almost silver, more gunmetal gray, just all over, giving it very nice detailing. The gold on top, of course, is for robot mode. It is a spider. It makes no sense. What I do like is that the spider eyes are a completely different type of gold. It doesn't look the same. It makes them stand out a lot more, and it's a nice bit of attention to detail. And speaking of detailing, you see the mandibles here on the front are painted and striped. They're, again, very inaccurate to a Black Widow, but no, she had them in the show. What interests me is a lot of Tarantulas' detailing was molded in and then painted, so there's a lot of leftover mold lines that make absolutely no sense for her whatsoever. Of course, the Hourglass is the big signature deco piece for any Black Widow spider. It's a little sloppy here in the middle, where the airbrush kind of missed things. But considering it's a multi-piece deco, and it all lines up very nice, I'm going to give it a pass and still say that it looks nice. Now, another inaccuracy to both Black Widows and the show model, BlackArachnia didn't have a big brown ring sticking out of her butt. That is for her launching gimmick, which we press with a button, and it fires out on a string, because spider. Which meant this could get hooked onto anything and she could hang around, you could drag her around, you could dangle her in front of Mom when she's reading a book and just see what she does. And I'm sure the original BlackArachnia and Tarantulas are more expensive today because of how many broke as a result of things like that. Oh, it's just fun. It's a nice little gimmick, I'll give it that, and it's appropriate for being a spider. There is no articulation in this mode outside of being able to adjust the mandibles and whatnot. You see ball joints on here, but that's not really for posing or anything. She doesn't stand on her legs because they're too flat for that. And really, there is no way to posing them because these are all stiff in the back, and it's all pegged in for transforming into this mode. Though on mine, this side does not like to stay pegged in. But you get the point. The legs really don't work. So she is what she is. A very off-color Black Widow spider, but still very nice looking compared to her show model. So let's actually transform her and see her in a little bit more of a familiar design. We'll fold these things out to form her arms, and you can see her head. She's already looking a little bit more familiar. The legs are simply tucked in, so we can fold them out. The feet, which are on nice tight hinges, can open up front and back, so good heel spurs. And then it's as simple as folding the chest down, and it all pegs snugly into place. And that gives us our BlackArachnia. Although, actually, let's actually make her elbows work by rotating them around. There's something about the elbows, but we'll have to speak about those later. As you can see, here she's looking far better, far more accurate. All that gold now makes sense. Deco-wise, it's as close as they could come to the actual show, and they really went all out for this. A lot of this looks like it's been molded in gold. It has not. This is painted. I made sure I popped a ball joint off just to make sure it looked dull underneath and unpainted, and it does. So it's actually a lot of attention to detail to make it look right. Same here, like all the way through here, it's all gold to make sure it looked right. She's only missing a bit of silver that her TV show model had, but outside of that, they really went all out to make her as accurate as possible. Speaking of, we will look at the head, which definitely does look like BlackArachnia since it did use the original head as an example, but it's not quite right. Of course, it doesn't have the mouth, it just has this groove where the mouth would be. That's because that is actually a slot that goes all the way to her neck. That is because this was a mutant head gimmick, as all Beast Wars Deluxes had. You fold it down, and we get another familiar head, Tarantulas. That's the one they used for the original version of the character. So we'll go ahead and flip that back up, since they didn't even bother painting it. This is all BlackArachnia all the time, and as it should be. So color-wise, they did good. There isn't really much new detail to tell about here, so we'll just go into articulation, which isn't bad. A ball-jointed neck makes sure she can look in all directions. Look up, she can look down a little bit, and you can even use that groove to enhance the look if you are so inclined. The ball joints on the shoulders give her a good range of motion. Ball-jointed elbows as well. These can rotate now a little bit to adjust to your needs, should you need them in any other position. Really nice range in the hips. The ball joint is cut very well to give her a good amount of reach. And as we saw, the knee joint, extremely deep bend. Exceptionally good articulation there. Now, it's only a few points, but all the points have a lot of motion to them, which makes her pretty good for a first-year Beast Wars mold. Now, there is a little bit more to her than that. We need her weapon, don't we? Well, first we need to eject a missile from her butt, and then pull out her blaster, which this is tricky, because there's no tab or anything to help pull it out. You just have to grab onto the handle and hope the dust hasn't clogged it up and made it harder to pull out. And that gives her her missile launcher in robot mode, which of course we can still attach the hook to. And that is how she looked most often in the show. Really nice here. It's a simple design, but it works. Now, there are alternatives. You can, of course, detach these, because the whole intention of those ball joints is to make them detachable, because they are grooved to fit in the missile launcher. And I would show this off, but A, it would require firing one, and as all collectors know, anytime you fire a missile and aren't paying attention to where it's going, it falls into this little hole that appears just outside of your peripheral vision, and the hole closes up and the missile's lost forever. Don't laugh, this is science! But the other reason is because I pulled one off earlier to test the toy out before review, and I stressed it pretty bad. So, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. But it's there if you are so inclined. Now, the big thing about this toy, the debate always was what to do with the arms, because the way you see them here, that's not how they come. Every single version of this mold has the arms flipped around, apparently because It's always a rule to get these hollow areas from showing. And here, just for the elbow to work, they have to show. Which is unfortunate, but I don't know, kind of necessary. I don't know why every single version has the elbows flipped, but swapping the arms is pretty easy. You just pop them off the ball joint and stick them on the other side. So, at least it's not a hard fix. It's just weird that it appeared in every version. Even in Japan, they did that same thing. So, that is Telemocha BlackArachnia. Probably the most necessary repaint I've ever seen. Because if you ever saw the original BlackArachnia, when it was mostly purple, and dare I say, threw in a little bit of green too, on top of the gold and the brown, and she was not pretty. This is kind of a vital update. Now, if we could get a Generations version of her to actually look like a real Black Widow spider, I could actually be satisfied. But that's kind of hoping a little bit too much now, isn't it? Ah, well. One can dream.